So this is 18 minutes to 8 in the evening of Sunday, the 20th of September 2020. It's 1942 hours GMT on Sunday, the 20th of September 2020. So we're doing part D of the Sunday papers from London, Fleet Street. And this is a plea from the Sunday people. How likely is this plea to be paid any attention to by the government? And the answer doesn't seem to be a good one. So the prospect is bleak, and what they're saying by there, so they had a chance to fix this but messed it up, and now there will be more deaths. Scare bosses grim warning. And this is the kind of grim warnings that will be seen more of. And is it Dr. Nagpal? This is Chand Nagpal. And Nagpal is saying, he's the British Medical Association chair. And he's saying that there should be stricter social distancing measures and harsher enforcement to prevent a second wave. Well, the fact that there is such a kind of grim prospect and the need for harsher enforcement measures shows that there is no education in this country about health, public health. Education is lacking. Even when they had decades to educate the public and messed it up. And what is the Chancellor saying? Rishi Sunak has put spending plans on hold amid fears a second coronavirus wave will wreak economic havoc. In the face of a 2-week circuit breaker national lockdown, he has decided the most crucial budget for the decades may have to wait until next year. A Treasury insider said, it was bad enough, but the second wave will make it more difficult to put together a credible plan in time to deliver to Parliament this autumn. Contingency plans have been drawn up for a spring budget. And here is a piece about government snubbing NHS experts for private farms and misses the targets. So the Sunday People is the one that seems to be running most of these items that are not in any of the other papers, not in the headlines, and not in the depth of the kind of lack of confidence in the government. And so on. So the point is that the media are kind of doing the knee-jerk reporting. They have not been investigating. Even the Sunday People has not been investigating. And the culture of lack of accountability persists even in the Sunday People's kind of realistic approach. And this is the Mail on Sunday, which we are looking at and diagnosing the last, if you like. And this is because they have got more contradictory things about the virus and Boris Johnson than the other ones, because they've got the number of pages, more number of pages. And there is also a racist celebration of the win by Kate Middleton against Tatler. The comparison between the Duchess of Sussex, that is Meghan Markle, and the media and the coverage of that, and the coverage of Kate Middleton's victory is very, very significant. And here is a piece, Julie Henry is saying that there is proof now that poor white pupils are UK's most deprived. And then there is a celebration that a pro-Brexiteering racist is going to be made chair of the BBC by Boris Johnson. And there are conflicting stories and pieces, page after page. And there is David Mellor, wheeled out from his hole, and he's saying it's time to stand up to this virus, like our parents and grandparents would have done. It's the same spirit of patriotism that is what is needed. And there is a piece by Christopher Uff at the Royal London Hospital. He is the head of neurosurgery. And he's talking about young man riding an e-scooter with a passenger on board. And they're talking about the danger of e-scooters. And censorship row as left-wing students stop the presses at Jeremy Vine's old college paper. Now, what is the Jeremy Vine old college paper? It's a Durham University. So it's all kind of hype. It's not really connected with the reality on the ground. And there is this Craig Brown doing the piece on social blunderbuss and based on the book of Scandals written by the wife of Hugo Sawyer. And they're saying that George Walden is saying, former minister and diplomat, saying that the biggest scandal in her book, in the diary, is that this entitled and frivolous clique got to run Britain. So it's a very in kind of journalism. It's not about out in the society, it's in. Various factions in the in and the kind of entitled gang. And then there is this racist Ben Bradley, so-called MP for Mansfield. Completely out of order comparison with re-education, Orwellian re-education course that he says is underway, telling ordinary people they are racists. I mean, this is a denial. This is an absolutely entrenched denial of racism in this country. And the Daily Mail, the Sunday Mail on Sunday, is doing this denial. And that is the agenda. And then Sarah Vine, Michael Gove's wife, is saying, "Kill Whitey" joke puts BBC in the last chance saloon. Last chance saloon was used by the same David Mellor that they have dug out of his hole today and are using as a patriot, invoking patriotism of our parents who would have stood up to the virus and driven it back where it came from. So village that declared war on fly tippers and won. Police were doing nothing. So locals clubbed together to buy spy cameras with number plate recognition and nailed criminals, dumping everything from toxic waste to cannabis farm debris. As I said, there is rare coverage of local activities and campaigns. Now, this is an exception, and this is the kind of reporting that should be there more of. And that would show the actual behavior of the local people doing whatever they're doing to defend their community, including making up for the failure of the police. Now, if that were kind of extrapolated and in numerical terms, and the whole population was covered in terms of the role of the police, the duty of the police, and how the police failures are being unreported, going unreported, and all the thousands of crimes being left unsolved or unattended, then the quality of society and social awareness would have been that much better. And there is this Daily Sunday Mirror, which is running the same thing about £10,000 fine if you refuse to self-isolate. These are desperate kind of headlines, and they won't be translated into reality. And the reason why they won't be translated into reality is because these are knee-jerk kind of headlines that are not related to people's kind of time and motion kind of dynamics. And people are not robots, and they cannot be expected to behave as robots. If people were treated as thinking individuals and thinking persons, rationally, socially conscious and aware, and if they were helped with education throughout the year, every year, then that would be a different matter altogether. They would be making decisions based on rational considerations and thinking about the impact of their behavior on other people in society and around them. So the absence of education as a whole is the central failing. Education covers everything. And Keir Starmer is reluctantly being given the headline, "This is the one that Boris Johnson isn't up to it." That is true, but Boris Johnson is not up to it, is not going far enough. Keir Starmer himself colluded with the disaster and is complicit even now with the disaster that is underway. So he has to go far more, cover far more distance than this one. And he's not talking about the role that Boris Johnson is playing in creating and perpetuating poverty and homelessness and low income and lack of access to fair hearing through the court system. And there is nothing about the police and the ordinary rule of law and the due process, none of that. And Mark Steele is writing The Voice of Reason. No, The Voice of Treason, he is calling himself. and they stop wanting tests, and there will be plenty for all, and that kind of thing. And there is nothing really of substance in Mark Steele's and there is a promotion for Alan Sugar again. So these papers are not really serving the nation, serving society, serving democracy and accountability. And there is no evidence that they will begin to change their track and their records. None of these papers, no matter what the party political lines and slogans and orientations are. So what is happening locally? In Tower Hamlets, for example, there was a campaign started in 20 days ago, when I chaired the meeting, which was supposed to be a campaign meeting against the blocking of Brick Lane, traffic through Brick Lane. That is a dangerous blocking. It's not environmentally sound, and it's not sensible and sensitive. So that campaign has been kind of put on one side by the people who took over the kind of propaganda in Brick Lane after that meeting, where they kind of made informal arrangements and exchange assurances that BIC's blocking of Brick Lane wasn't going to last very long. There was a demonstration yesterday near Old Street where protesters from Islington, who were protesting against Islington Council doing the blocking of roads in Islington, traffic blockages in Islington, or banning of traffic in Islington, were supposed to be meeting at Old Street. Now, the publicity that I saw about that hasn't been kind of updated today, I have checked. And so therefore there is no evidence, or there is no kind of evidence in terms of any participation by anyone from Tower Hamlets or Brick Lane in that particular protest. But there is similar kind of activity going on in Ealing, where the Ealing Council is doing similar things to Tower Hamlets. And so there are various councils across London that are imposing this banning of traffic through particular streets, roads in the area, without any consultation and without any justification, as compared to the impact that the closures would have on the local communities, small businesses, etc. So we shall be talking about that in due course. Here, this one has to end because of technical reasons.